Hello everyone, welcome to Preterist Papers. My name is Patricia and this is the 36th discussion in our series and it's called The Beast, Part 1. You can find this printable 2-page document at preteristpapers.com. When Revelation is approached with a modern mindset, faulty interpretations are inevitable. We will consider common assumptions and define terminology from Scripture. Videos 1 and 2 in this series are foundational to establish the first century setting for the book of Revelation. Let's consider number 1 on our fact sheet. Translations of the Bible render the Greek word ge, spelled G-E, as earth or land. Those who dwell on the earth would go through the tribulation. This phrase likely causes modern readers to think of everyone on planet Earth, which is not the intent of the passage. Some translations more appropriately use the word land, which implies a limited territory, and this is the original intent. For example, there was the land, or ge, of Egypt, the land, or ge, of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the land, or ge, of Israel, and so on. It was not a global reference, but rather regional. More clues come to light regarding those who dwell on the earth or land from the Old Testament. Look at 1a. We find references to the people of the land pertaining to the Jews. They were the people of the promised land. This gives an even finer point to the meaning of the Greek word ge, or land. Now in 1b, we take that knowledge and can entertain the thought, those who dwell upon the land and undergo tribulation in the first century was Israel. The Jews would be subject to beast fascination, beast worship, deception, propaganda, and intense suffering during the coming tribulation or national judgment, and this is confirmed by history. Number 2 on the fact sheet pertains to the repeated phrase, every tribe, tongue, people, and nation. They were either the redeemed who were rejoicing and praising God, or unbelievers who were subject to the satanic beast impulse. Again, most modern readers likely believe this phrase, every tribe, tongue, people, and nation, is referring to the people of the world, but because of the understanding gained in number 1, it invites caution. In 2e, we discover those from every tribe, tongue, people, and nation to be identical with those who dwell on the earth. The fourfold reference seems to be Israel itself. We find confirmation of this inference in Acts 2, 5-11, which tells us that on the day of Pentecost there were dwelling in Jerusalem Jews from every nation under the sky. And it goes on to name at least 16 Jewish language and population groups from around the Roman Empire and beyond. Take a look at 3a. In Leviticus 26, it states that if Israel would not listen to Yahweh, he would chastise them 7 times for their sins. Israel was warned way back in the days of Moses of the 7-fold punishment for disobedience, and here it is clearly being meted out, ending the Old Covenant. In 3b, the 7 bowls were targeted to be poured out on the land, which we now understand to be the land of Israel. This further is reinforced in 3c on our document, where the recipients of God's 3rd bowl of wrath were those who had shed the blood of prophets. This is descriptive of one nation, first century Israel. Now in 3d, we have the scripture that allows us to definitely identify the beast. The 5th bowl of wrath was poured out on the throne of the beast. Where was the throne of those who killed the prophets? It was Jerusalem without question. Since all bowls of wrath were for Israel, and the 5th bowl was poured out on the throne of the beast, we can logically conclude that first century Israel was the beast. And history bears this out. Josephus describes in horrid detail the degradation Jerusalem suffered, and still the zealots mocked Yahweh. Now look at number 4. The ultimate end of the beast was destruction by fire. History tells us of Jerusalem's fiery demise, which will be further documented in the next paper. Significantly, we find in Leviticus 21, quote, "The daughter of any priest, if she profanes herself by playing the prostitute, she profanes her father. She shall be burned with fire," unquote. The Jerusalem harlot, who was ultimately identical with the beast, had profaned her father and suffered the same severe fate, purging by fire. Thank you for listening. We will continue part 2 of our discussion of the beast in the next installment. If these videos are of interest, please like, subscribe, and share, as it enables wider queuing of this material. Shalom.